Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of What Successful CEOs Do. And today we are looking at this important piece when it comes to building a business. I always say that there is no great company on earth that was built by one man with one man's money. Every great vision, every great company, every great business that you see reached a point in time where it needed the money of other people. And for some businesses, at the beginning, at the foundation of it all, it needed the money of other people. That is where the word angel investors came in. Like an angel just appears from somewhere, from nowhere, and gives you money because they believe in you and your idea. So if you are going to be a successful CEO, you need to understand how you can cultivate a growing investor relationship. Because if you're going to build that giant business that employs thousands of people and is making millions and billions in profit and expanding to different cities and different countries, then you need to understand how to have the right relationship with different people because you will need their money to achieve that which you have to do. I always encourage new entrepreneurs, spend some time and research the companies that inspire you in the world. Spend time to research the money that they are using or the money that they have used to get to where they are. Where did the money come from? Who gave them the money? And it will inspire you to understand this powerful skill and attribute of investor relation. So investor relations refers to the strategic management of relationships between the business and its already existing investors or shareholders and potential investors and the financial community in general. Now, the financial community is broad, talking about banks, other financial institutions, talking about business financing agencies, microfinance institutions, talking about government agencies that give grants to businesses. It is your responsibility as a CEO to make sure that you have policies, consciousness, intentionality in place to manage the relationship between your business and the people that can give you even your friends and your family members who may have the money that you need to advance your vision to build your business. That is investor relations. And successful investors recognize that strong investor relations can help build trust and confidence among shareholders because nobody is going to give you money if they don't trust you and if they don't have confidence in your ability to build a successful business. And when you have trust, when you have their trust and their confidence, it will lead to increased investments and long-term commitment from investors. That's why you hear that maybe at the beginning, um, an investor can give, let's say, $100,000. And 2 years later, the same investor can give $1 million. What changed? The point is the confidence in you grew, the trust grew. And this can only happen with proper investor relations. When you do it right, this will lead to increased investment and long-term commitment from investors. And here's one thing, as a serious entrepreneur, you don't need to be changing investors like people change their cloth, right? If you can have one investor, two investors that will stand with you from the beginning for the next 30 to 40 years is better because you already know their character, how they behave, their expectations, and it's easy to manage. Having new investors trolling in and leaving and coming and leaving can negatively affect your ability to manage investors properly. Another part of investor relations talks about you intentionally fostering this positive relationship because this relationship is important in terms of investors and shareholders being informed and engaged. Because if shareholders and investors are not informed about what is happening and if they are not engaged, they will not have confidence in the company's performance, in your business performance. So part of your investor relations activity is to inform the shareholders, is to engage them as much as you can. Because when they are informed and they are engaged, it is going to lead to increased confidence in you, the CEO, and of course, the company. I am emphasizing on you, the CEO, because many a times investors invest in your personality. They invest in your character. They invest in your skill set. They invest in the vision that you have. Because without you, without the people, a company cannot exist. Now, to break it down, what should you be doing after this explanation and foundation that I've laid for you? What should you be doing? Number one, you need to learn how to identify if the business needs investors, when the business needs investors, and which type of investments you need. Yes, because you need money doesn't mean that you should take money anytime from anybody and any kind of investment program. No, you need to first of all identify, do we need money now? Or when will we need money in the future? And when do we need the money exactly? Where is the best place we can get this money? Which type of investments or investors do we need? For example, there are debt investors, investors that give you money in form of loan, and they will take it back after a particular time plus interest. That's a type of investment. There is equity investment. They will give you the money and they would like to own a piece of your business. You need to determine that. And that's part of investor relations. The next thing is you need to learn how to work with your finance person to communicate effectively with investors. This is for those who already have finance officers or chief finance officers or chief investment officers. But if you're still a growing business and you're just the CEO and a few employees, then you need to know how to do this. You need to know how to communicate with your investors. And there is a way to communicate with your investors. I always say that when you're communicating with your investors, you don't talk a lot of grammar. You don't speak a lot of English. You speak in numbers. You speak in figures. You speak in money terms, because that's what they understand. They understand numbers, figures, money beyond the grammar that you talk. If you speak Queen's English very well without talking money, what you need, how you give them back, and what they will gain, and all of that, you're making noise, right? So you need to understand how to communicate effectively with the investors. The next thing is you need to know how to foster relationships with the investors you already have and with potential investors. You need to intentionally build relationships with current investors and potential investors. Next is you need to regularly review and report on the financial performance. Yes, you need to spend some time and review the financial performance of your business. Review the expenses, review the capital expenditure, review the sales, review the overall income, review the profit, review everything as far as money is concerned. When you review, you need to know how to write investor reports, because the report that goes to investor is not the same report that comes to you or goes to the main founders, for example, or goes to the public if it must go to the public. So you need to know how to do that. Next is you need to learn how to provide clear and consistent information about the company's future financial prospects. Very important. Clear and consistent information about the company's future financial prospects. The next thing is you need to know how to respond to investor queries promptly. Investors will always ask questions. And you, as a CEO, you don't need to minimize the questions of your investors. Whatever question, no matter how basic or how stupid you may think they sound, your job is to respond to investors' queries promptly and clearly in a way that they understand. That is your responsibility. That is your job. And sometimes you can anticipate what kind of questions will they ask, and you can develop a workbook, you can develop a newsletter and communicate to them and answer their question in future before they even ask. The last thing I'll talk about here is maintain transparency and integrity in all investor dealings. Avoid things that will cost you tomorrow. Avoid black market dealings. Maintain transparency with the right government authorities, tax authorities, financial regulators, and the investors. Be as transparent and maintain integrity as much as possible. Because if you do the wrong deals today, you may get away with it. But let me tell you something, in the corporate world, it will always catch up with you. And if you're serious about building a long term company, and a legacy, something that will stand the test of time, then one of the most important things that you must pay attention to is maintaining transparency and integrity in all investment dealings, all at all times. And one thing about transparency here is proper documentation. Avoid word of mouth agreements. Proper documentation, duly registered, copies made, critical in investment. I hope that you picked a couple of things and you are reminded about some things, and you will start paying more attention to some things that you have been overlooking or not paying attention to. Keep building that dream, and see you in the next episode.